The Sooners and the Cowboys were on their home turf this past weekend to play the Kansas Jayhawks and the Iowa State Cyclones. We have the highlights from the matchups and hear from our experts about the team's performances.
A new grocery store is set to open its doors in downtown Oklahoma City. We'll tell you where you can find fresh local produce in the heart of the metro.
Plus, one of the most recognizable programs in football is coming to the Sooner State. Notre Dame will march on to Owen Field. Some fans have an interest in both sides of the matchup. Why this game is so important to an Edmond family.
All that and more coming up next on NewsOK TV. This is NewsOK TV.
This is NewsOK TV. Oklahoma State faced the Iowa State Cyclones after a shaky win against the Kansas Jayhawks.
During their last meeting in Ames, Iowa, the Cyclones squashed the Pokes BCS title game, hopes with an overtime win. I'm Angie Brusson. You're watching NewsOK TV.
And I'm Dave Morris. We start this edition in Stillwater for the Cowboys' homecoming matchup early morning against the Cyclones. The Oklahoma sports team was at Boone Pickens Stadium on Saturday to see if the Cowboys were ready for a rematch.
A successful day for the Cowboys and Mike Gundy here at Boone Pickens Stadium. I'm Barry Trammell along with OSU writer Gina Mizell. We're on Saturday. The Cowboys beat Iowa State 31-10. Mike Gundy becomes the OSU coaching career victory record holder, and the Cowboys win in dominating fashion. Offense was good enough, defense was dominant.
Yeah, I mean, I think a lot of people are going to look at J.W. Walsh's performance, and rightfully so, as kind of a bounce-back game for him. He was great today, both running and throwing the football, but really the defense is what paced this game and this team, Oklahoma State. They gave up a touchdown on the first drive of the game, a 75-yard drive for Iowa State, and then gave up a field goal in the first quarter. Nothing else after that. 11 straight stops for the defense. They forced 2 turnovers, which is something they haven't done this year. Just forced a lot of 3-and-outs, a lot of punts from Iowa State, and the Cyclone offense just really never got going after that. So, yes, J.W. Walsh performed well, and like you said, the offense performed well enough, but the defense is really the MVP of this game overall. Well,
the Cyclones even had to change quarterbacks in the fourth quarter, going from Jared Barnett to Steele Jans, who had started the season as the starter. Iowa State just ineffective all day long, and the Cowboys really played the good defense, didn't let Iowa State run the ball. The passing game was ineffective. Now on offense, Cowboys still not in complete sync. Injuries still mounting, receiver core down. The running game did not get really loose until a late 62-yard run by Joe Randall, but enough receivers stepped up. J.W. Walsh made enough throws that this offense put up the points.
Yeah, it's kind of funny. Mike Gundy, after the game, said that J.W. Walsh was average. Well, he had the 9th best passing output in Oklahoma State history. So if that's average, I guess Mike Gundy might be a little bit of a tough critic. But he did say he made about 8 to 10 mistakes in this game, which is too many for a freshman and too many for someone who runs this offense. But obviously he was better than he was against Kansas, where he just really struggled to throw the football down the field. And you wondered how this passing game was going to look without Tracy Moore and Isaiah Anderson, who both missed the game with injury. But Charlie Moore had another great game. He had a 74-yard touchdown catch and run down the sideline, and Josh Stewart led the team in catches and nearly got 100 yards, and Blake Jackson also played well as well. So they almost had 3 guys go over 100 yards receiving. So obviously the receiving core is depleted. It's not as healthy as it was at the start of the year, but at least today they had enough guys step up that they needed.
So the season looks a little better for the Cowboys. They're 4-2, 2-1 in the Big 12, and with TCU coming in Saturday, Cowboys are actually staying in the race at this point.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, just with how crazy this Big 12 race has been, every game from here on out, it's going to be a tough game. And honestly, I think every game from here on out is a game that the Cowboys could lose and also a game that the Cowboys could win. And so I think this TCU game coming up obviously is a winnable game for these Cowboys before they then go on the road to Manhattan to take on Kansas State, which is obviously going to be a very, very tough game. But it's funny how everything seems to change each week. It's like the team's down, the team's up, the team's down. Now we're starting to see an upswing. So I'll be curious to see how they respond. But after a very lackluster performance in Lawrence, this was a great response tonight for this Oklahoma State team.
And so the Cowboys win at 31-10. Stay tuned for further OSU football coverage here on NewsOK and every day in the Oklahoman.
OSU will be home again on October 27th to play TCU. That kickoff is set for 2:30 p.m. Then the Cowboys will travel north to Manhattan, Kansas to take on the third-ranked Kansas State Wildcats on November 3rd.
The Sooners were back on their home turf last weekend as they took on the Kansas Jayhawks. Our sports crew was also in Norman and has more on the matchup.
I'm Jenny Carlson here with Jason Kersey. We're in Norman, where tonight Oklahoma has defeated Kansas 52-7. Jason, a game that was never in doubt as far as outcome, but you have to like, if you're Oklahoma, the way Landry Jones played in this game. What did you see out of the Sooner quarterback?
Well, Landry Jones tonight looked confident in the pocket. He looked poised. He made a couple of throws that were a little off, but nothing that was so bad that it was real noticeable or memorable. And his touchdown pass in the first quarter to Kenny Stills was one of the best passes I can remember him making in a long time. I mean, he was right on the money, and that was a pretty well defended play. So I think Landry Jones, over the last 3 weeks since that Kansas State loss, has really come into his own, really playing well and playing at his best, and he's going to need it next week against Notre Dame.
Well, you mentioned Notre Dame. Let's just get right to it and talk about them, because in this game, I mean, like I said, not a lot of doubt about who was going to win this game against Kansas. You look ahead to Notre Dame. Do you like the way Oklahoma stacks up at this point? Notre Dame had a close call against BYU. Does that give some sort of advantage to Oklahoma?
Well, I think OU's going to come in with a lot more momentum, but Notre Dame's defense is playing so well right now that I think their offense has played well enough to win. They're going to get their quarterback back next week, it looks like. But OU's offense against their defense is going to be a really interesting matchup, because Notre Dame is playing so well defensively, and OU's offense is really starting to pick up and has a lot of talented big play guys. But will they be able to do it against a team like that, against clearly probably the best defense they've seen all year?
Well, Notre Dame winning by more like SEC scores instead of Big 12 scores, not nearly the numbers that we see regularly in the Big 12. But, Jason, I wonder if Oklahoma's big playability, not just on offense, but special teams and even defense. We saw Casey Walker rumble 45 yards tonight after picking up a fumble. How do those sorts of things play into what we could see next week again against Notre Dame?
Well, those big plays are taking pressure off on Landry Jones, and they're really swinging the momentum in OU's favor in a lot of these things. Like you mentioned, Justin Brown returning a punt for a touchdown. He's been close all year, several times, and he finally gets one back. Roy Finch returning a kick for a touchdown. And then, Javon Harris intercepting 2 more passes. He returned one for a touchdown against Texas Tech. So you're right, the big playability of the Sooners really could be a big advantage against Notre Dame.
All right, it's going to be a huge week. Game day is coming, primetime game. We'll have all your coverage here, so be sure to stay with the Oklahoman every day and NewsOK all the time.
The Fighting Irish come to town on October 27th. Kickoff is set for 7 p.m. and if you can't make it to the game, you can watch the matchup against Notre Dame on ABC. Then OU is on the road to take on Iowa State Cyclones in Ames, Iowa on November the 3rd. And from what I understand, the marching band, the band for Notre Dame, is going to be making an appearance in the Myriad Gardens next weekend. So yeah, you got to check out that, or this weekend. So yeah, it's pretty cool.
We think it's Friday at the Myriad Gardens, the Pumpkinville.
Yeah.
Paint some pumpkins, listen to the band, enjoy the cooler weather.
I know. It's interesting. That's kind of cool that they're going to be.
But it's exciting. It's good for OU to be that highly ranked and bringing in a visible program like Notre Dame. It brings a lot of energy and excitement, and it's Halloween weekend.
I know. Yeah, that's true. Are you dressing up?
Not yet. I mean, plans may arise. I don't know.
Not
you?
Yet, no. We're just gonna be ready for the kiddos and
passing out.
Have candy, because last year we weren't ready, and so we had to give them.
That's
some
right.
of
You were
our,
in a new neighborhood though,
Yeah.
so you didn't really know what to expect.
We had to give them some of the good prized candy that my husband loves, and he was not happy.
Started passing out PB&J at that point. What do we have? We have peanut butter. Here you go.
No. Anyway, so we're gonna be ready this time.
Joel's like, yeah, we're gonna buy the cheap stuff. You're not giving away my good stash. All right, we're about 2 weeks away from the 2012 elections, and millions of Americans will be heading to the polls on November 6th. There's a new technology that allows visually impaired Oklahomans to cast their vote independently. We'll show you that video after the break.
Plus, a Norman grocery store is heading north to the heart of the metro. The independent store selling local organic products, coming up on NewsOK TV.
Everyone gets excited on game day. With the Oklahoman Full Access, you can get your sports news any way you like. The Oklahoman Full Access includes print, smartphones, tablets, print replica, and our digital archives, starting as low as $12 a month. and it's free to current print subscribers. Log on to newsok.com/subscribe to get started today. The Oklahoman, full access.
Hello, this is Mary. I can help you.
Hi, my grandma wants to know how to record my show.
Press the guide button on the remote.
Abuelita, toca el botón guide.
Now find your show on the screen and press record.
Ahora busca el programa en la
Pantalla.
Working hard for every smile. Another reason why Cox is your friend in the digital age.
Everyone has their morning routine. With the Oklahoman Full Access, you can get your morning news any way you like. The Oklahoman Full Access includes print, smartphones, tablets, print replica, and our digital archives, starting as low as $12 a month. And it's free to current print subscribers. Log on to oklahoman.com/subscribe to get started today. The Oklahoman, full access.
Welcome back to NewsOK TV. I'm Dave Morris alongside Angie Brust. And Angie, the countdown to the November elections is getting shorter and voters will be casting their ballots in just a few weeks.
That's right. The Oklahoma State Election Board is working hard to help voters get ready for November 6th. I recently visited with officials from the board and learned how they are helping the blind and visually impaired. They demonstrated a new machine earlier this month. Hey, it's Angie with NewsOK. I'm here at Newview, Oklahoma, where the Oklahoma State Election Board, they are currently demonstrating new voting machines for the blind and visually impaired. It is great. What a great opportunity, and obviously election season is here. I'm here with Lauren, who can tell us all about this. These voting machines are new.
They're brand new for this election. What they're demonstrating today is a tactile audio interface to go with the ballot. So when our people go in and vote this time, they don't have to take someone in with them to help them vote. They can actually hear the ballot, use the tactile interface, and vote independently.
We know that there's a lot of disabled, visually impaired voters across the state, and so we know that there's a need that people they want to be independent. They want to be able to participate, just like regularly sighted citizens. But sometimes there's trepidation because it's confusing, and it's just the pressure of going to a polling place. You wonder, am I going to be holding up other voters? This whole new system allows people to vote privately and independently. The new machines that the state has purchased from Hart InterCivic in Texas, they have the feature, just like we did in the old machines, they have the optical scanners for the printed ballots, but then they also have what's called the audio tactile interface, and that allows visually impaired and disabled voters to vote using the interface. And we actually have an audio version of the ballot that's recorded that mirrors the printed ballots. You push a button to activate that, and then insert a blank ballot, and then the machine knows that it has a ballot, and then you just work through it has a device that allows people to turn a wheel or push buttons to actually hear the candidates' names and then to cast their ballot.
Different distinct shapes that represent the different parameters and functions, so it should make things easy. At first it may be a little intimidating because it's something new and we haven't tried it before, but I think it'll be very, very gratifying, and where people can use it quite readily.
As you saw, they actually have headphones that they provide, or you can bring your own. And the ballot, they go through the ballot, and it tells you audibly who the candidates are, and you have this little toggle thing and an enter button and stuff like that, and they have it in Braille so that you can pick which candidate you want. It was really interesting. It was great.
One of the things that we learned in that early on in your interview, they said, and I'm guessing this is a huge thing, that level of freedom that it allows them, that they don't have to have somebody in there as they cast their vote. There's that that level of independence that they can do. That's
well, yeah, and the privacy issue. You know, all of
Right.
a sudden you're having to tell someone else who you're voting for, and you have to trust that person marks the right.
That's true too.
the right candidate. So this is great. They can do it on their own. I mean, that's perfect. So good for them.
Great use of technology. We have plenty of election coverage online at NewsOK.com. Every week we speak with Chris Castile in our Washington, D.C. bureau, but we also speak with the Capitol Bureau here locally. It's called The Ballot. You can find that video series online now through the election series, and we'll probably continue it through the end of the year and into the new legislative session. Again, that can be found on our politics page on NewsOK.com. Well, young and old chefs put their cooking skills to the test in a grilled cheese showdown. It's a unique combination that puts a new twist on this traditional dish, and that's coming up next on NewsOK TV.
Social media gives readers a voice that they can interact with us in a way that I don't think they've ever been able to. And it allows us to, include their thoughts and their questions and everything in our content.
Whereas we used to just publish and just tell everybody what the news and entertainment and information was. The rest of the world wants to engage. They want to talk back. They want us to talk back to them. They want insight, they want opinion, and a lot of that is new culturally for a newspaper.
I look up to you for all the things you do. I hope to be like you someday soon.
Working hard for every smile. Another reason why Cox is your friend in the digital age.
Cooler temperatures and some precipitation. We're also likely to see strong winds with this front, and that can mean power outages across parts of the state. The system should...
The Oklahoman is delivering your news in a whole new way. Stay safe and informed with updated weather radar. Know what to expect with the 7-day forecast with video. Thumb through photos and more with the all-new Oklahoman iPad app. Now available in the App Store.
Welcome back to NewsOK TV. I'm Angie Bruss with Dave Morris here. All right, a local entrepreneur is preparing to open a grocery store in downtown Oklahoma City, something that I think is really needed. I've heard a lot of people say we need a grocery store down here. Native Roots is setting up shop in Deep Deuce.
It's a store that specializes in local products and organic foods, and residents are eager for the market to open. The Oklahoman Steve Blackmeyer, NewsOK's Garrett Fisbeck, visited the store's new location and spoke with the owners.
Native Roots was conceived originally as the idea of a spice bar where we could all sit down and begin to make spices. And as Sarah and I studied food, we began to learn more and more about local agriculture and decided that what we really wanted to do was open a grocery store. So we began to look at family-owned companies because we're a family-owned company and what it was we could do to help them. And a retail marketplace is really what came about, a place where a family-owned jelly maker could sell his jelly without worrying about competing with Welch's or someone else. We had always looked at the downtown OKC area and thought that it would be a good fit. We've looked at a lot of the places, but no one quite had a space in Deep Deuce. And so then here comes a friend that we know who's trying to get the idea of, I would like a grocer up in this area, and we're like, well, where are you? And he's like, I'm actually in Deep Deuce. And we're like, well, where in Deep Deuce? Like, where exactly? And then he shows us this corner, and it's like, I said that we probably wouldn't do it unless someone actually found the perfect spot. And Richard found the perfect spot. We've had people come in and start buying things off the shelves. You try to stop them and you just get their attention, and they're so already engrossed in the product selection that they don't even notice you. They don't even notice that the store is not complete, that there's nothing in the refrigerators or freezers. And that to us is very heartwarming because it means that you are appreciating the products that we have on the shelves and not staring at the space, not consumed by looking around at everything that you're seeing. You're actually looking at what it is we're trying to sell you. And since we're trying to promote family-owned companies and family products, that's important.
The couple first started the business in Norman and had hoped to have 2 locations, but they changed those plans when they were confronted by increased competition from national chains. Kaplan estimated the store carries items from 100 local vendors that range from meats to goat milk and wooden toys. And why wouldn't you have wooden toys?
That's so great. Oh, that's wonderful, because obviously it's helping our local economy, our local producers. There you go.
I believe it opened over this weekend. We tape this show on Monday morning. It airs on Tuesday nights and repeats on the Cox channel. Our friends at Cox throughout the week. But over Twitter, I noticed over the weekend they were saying, "Yay, this is finally open."
That's
so
cool. That's cool.
For those who work or live in that downtown area,
yeah,
go hit it up. Get
there
yourself
you
a
go.
wooden toy.
There you go. And then, of course, speaking of food, recently there was a grilled cheese contest, and this is exciting. Because,
who doesn't love grilled cheese?
Because Dave, Kathy, and I were a couple of the judges. There were 5 of us total who judged this very unique competition. And you had kids from 5th grade up to adults entering into this contest saying, "I make the best grilled cheese," and we had to choose who the best grilled cheese is in the metro, and this was at Science Museum, Oklahoma. So a lot of fun, very interesting, and now that recipe, the winner, will go on the cafe at the Science Museum, Oklahoma. But you gotta check out who won and what their secret ingredient was.
Grilled cheese featured on the menu at Pavlov's Cafe. Here in the museum, it's an on-site cafe for the year until the next cook-off next year. And then they got a $100 Beaker Buck gift card, which they can spend throughout the museum. And then a Silver 6 family membership, so their family can come back all year.
Mounds of messy grilled cheese, and we had really petite, well-organized, clean grilled cheese. It was the full spectrum.
I know. I'm still amazed that they asked me to be a judge. Now, this guy, I can see, he's an expert on food. We had some great judges here, obviously, from the Coach House, Iguana.
Yeah, it was a great lineup.
We interviewed the winner as well. The winner has a very unique style for hers.
Yes, it was, first off, it was a very, again, clean sandwich. It was not too many ingredients, but the ingredients she had in there were a bit of a surprise.
I know, very tasty. Check it out.
I'm just so shocked. It's amazing. It's awesome. My boys are going to be so happy. I can't wait to tell them.
We had the top 10 grilled cheese chefs come in and make their famous grilled cheese. We had several 5th grade classes in her, and then all the way up to Gina, who's an adult. So we had a roughly 52 to 56 entries. Some were photo entries. We just said be creative and send it on in. Many came into our Facebook page, were delivered to the museum, and we had to whittle it down by these videos, which was very difficult. But as you saw, they cooked their best grilled cheese.
We've been working on this creation over the past year. My grandfather had surgery about a year ago, and I would help with his aftercare. And when he would request a grilled cheese at lunch, he wanted sauerkraut on his grilled cheese. And actually, when I told him about the contest, he finally taught me his final secret for his grilled cheese, to caramelize the onion. We were just putting raw sweet onion on it, and caramelizing really makes a difference. I used buttered bread with a layer of Thousand Island dressing, and then I put a slice of provolone cheese, 4-pepper turkey, a nice layer of spinach, and then a couple slices of tomato, pickle slices, my salt and pepper, and then my sauerkraut mixture, which is the caramelized onion and sauerkraut.
The winner will have their grilled cheese featured on the menu at Pavlov's Cafe. Here in the museum, it's an on-site cafe for the year until the next cook-off next year. And then they got a $100 Beaker Buck gift card, which they can spend throughout the museum. And then a Silver 6 family membership, so their family can come back all year.
Here's something really cool about this story is that the Science Museum Oklahoma said the reason why it does pertain to the Science Museum Oklahoma is it deals with chemistry. You know, you're figuring out different recipes and the cheese and all of that fun stuff. Anyway, I was like, yeah, that is perfect. There you go. You have to have a little bit of chemistry in there when you're cooking up grilled cheese. And man, those ingredients were crazy, as you saw.
I have a question.
Uh-oh.
Do you feel you were qualified to be a judge for a grilled cheese sandwich?
Not at all. That's what I was like, because you know you have the Coach House chef there, and Iguana chef there, Dave Kathy, who's an expert, and then me. I'm like, what? I don't know. And afterwards, my stomach. Woo. I'm telling you, that grilled cheese, eating a lot of grilled cheese can really upset you. But
I really didn't think we were going to go there.
It was worth it. It was a lot of fun, very tasty and unique combinations. It was fun. It was a lot of fun. But no, I definitely.
That's the main thing, fun.
I wasn't an expert at all, but they said they wanted that. They wanted some experts and they wanted some people, you know, just regular people. So there you go. I'm a regular person. All right, let's switch subjects. The Crimson and Cream will square off against the Green and Gold this weekend as Notre Dame returns to Norman for the first time in more than a decade.
But for one Edmond family, the matchup holds a special meaning, and we'll give you their story after the break.
With the Oklahoman Full Access, we deliver your news any way you'd like. The Oklahoman Full Access includes print, smartphones, tablets, print replica, digital archives, and the new Oklahoman.com. Plans start at only $12 a month. And all this is free to current print subscribers. Log on to oklahoman.com/subscribe to get started today. The Oklahoman Full Access.
I look up to you for all the things you do. I hope to be like you someday soon. 'Cause I look
Working
up to
hard for every smile. Another reason why Cox is your friend in the digital age.
We're shooting more photos at each assignment, but we're putting those into separate galleries that can be added into the iPad and online editions so that the viewers can see a lot more photographs. We can tell a lot more of the story visually, give them more detailed shots, more overall shots, just a lot more variety that really enriches their experience.
Welcome back to NewsOK TV alongside Angie Bruss. I'm merely Dave Morris, and earlier in the show we mentioned the Fighting Irish would be marching onto Owen Field on October 27th. We weren't lying about that.
Yeah, that's right. Sooner fans are really looking forward to the game, but the matchup holds special meaning for one Edmond family. When Notre Dame returns to Owen Field this year on October 27th, Tim Flanagan of Edmond will be filled with joy, regardless of the scoreboard. It is a homecoming for his family.
I have a daughter in the Notre Dame band, and they're coming down here on Friday. And then I have another daughter in the Oklahoma Pride.
It's going to be so exciting. I can't wait. It's kind of like uniting my two families. I'm excited to show all of my band family Oklahoma and show them where I came from.
His daughter Mariah is a sophomore at Notre Dame and was long ago hooked to the Fighting Irish by her dad. But his other daughter, Bailey, was never hooked by her dad's passion of the green and gold. She will play flute in the Pride of Oklahoma band at the big game.
We were not OU fans at all, so I don't really know all that much about OU football coming here. I've had to pick up on a lot. Once you get here and you meet people, it's you get involved with the Pride, you just get so excited. I can't possibly be a Notre Dame fan anymore. I may not be Sooner born or Sooner bred, but when I die, I'll be Sooner dead.
Tim says he won't be watching the OU Notre Dame game on TV. He will be at the game. He's hoping to get a picture of both of his daughters together at the game.
Just the fact that we're going to all be together, because Mariah, being at Notre Dame, I can't afford to bring her home very often. And the fact that they're bringing her here, you know, without me having to foot the bill on that is huge. It's just a very special day that I just can't describe the emotions I think I'm going to be feeling that day.
All right, that's all the time we have for this edition of NewsOK TV.
And of course, you can watch all of these videos and much more online at newsok.com. See ya.